Bruce, thanks for taking the time to talk to us today. How are you?
I'm great, John. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Now, we spoke quite some time ago, and you were hoping that you'd be able to get a second chance at Survivor. What has it meant to you to get that second chance and to play again, Bruce?
Oh man, to get the second chance to play again, it means the world. And I say it means the world, even though I'm technically done, on the jury. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna say it means the world to me because I've done a lot. I've done a lot on this show that a lot of people haven't even had the ability to do. Made the merge, won two immunity challenges, kept helped to be a part to keep my tribes out of going to tribal council, find a hidden immunity idol, make the merge. You have the merge feast, and just it was all encompassing. I truly appreciate and enjoyed this ride.
now I have to ask you this question, obviously, because obviously, Mama didn't raise no fools. Now, now, what convinced you not to use your idol when Emily was talking to you? Let us in on how effective her pitch was, or was it the circumstances? What made you make that decision?
Well, you know what? It was circumstance and her pitch,
Right.
because we're trying to figure out exactly what's going on and who's who in the zoo and who's going to be voted for. And I tried as hard as I could not to throw names out there.
Right.
Um, and then all of a sudden, after a great conversation with Julie, now it comes down to Emily comes to me, who I've been in constant communication with since we merged together. I've never lied to this young lady. I've always told her the truth when she asked me about something, and in my mind, she did the very same thing. So when she came to me, she said, "Julie's not working with you." My mind said, "Julie wants you out." Like, wait a minute. I
Yeah.
just the whole line. She wants what? All right, fine, I'm out. But my thought was, now let's figure out the numbers and how we can get Julie out, like how we can have her voted out of the game. And that was to do one of two things: one, to get someone out that was mentioning my name; two, was to be able to weaken the Reaper Four,
Right.
because that they were strong. So there we are, and that conversation with Emily was very, 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 very trusting on my end.
Now we saw how some of the jury were reacting when you got voted out. What was the reaction, if you can tell us, when you arrived at Ponderosa?
Ponderosa, you know, and I'm not one to sugarcoat and or hide anything, and
Right.
I've made it abundantly clear to the people that I was in Ponderosa with, and that this was going to come up. Ponderosa was not fun. It was
No.
not fun. The reason why Ponderosa wasn't fun is because even the day that I came out of the game, the evening, having been through season 44, and I was the king of Ponderosa,
Right.
and Maddie was the queen of Ponderosa. So we were both there, and we greeted everyone that came in. And the general consensus and general rule is unspoken, if you will. When someone comes off, they're now dealing with a whole bunch of stuff.
Right.
And
Right. Yeah.
from day one, I got like viscerally, like, not visceral. I'm sorry, that's a very strong word. There were a lot of questions being asked me. Why'd you do this? Why'd you do this? And I'm just like, um, I didn't really like kind of gather everything. Caleb, I love you to death, man, but you took a piece of pizza, and I was like, "That's my pizza." No, I'm only kidding. I was willing to share it with you. But like, there's so much going on. But then even continuing on with the days going forward, like finding out that no one was willing to work with me, and kind of all that stuff all came to a head, and it just made my experience at Ponderosa nothing like it was for 44. Even though I didn't play in 44 technically,
Right.
I did, but really didn't. It just made it something that I wish was a little bit different. But good thing since then is I've had conversations with every single person, and I I just love them all to death.
Well, we're gonna say, like, again, some of it was points of humor we saw on the show, but I mean, realistically, looking at some of those comments, they can be a lot, from your fellow catmates. They can be biting, they can sting. Um, how did you deal with all that, or how did you process that, Bruce? Because again, sometimes, even for, me, like sometimes looking in the mirror can be a very difficult thing for a lot of
Yeah,
us.
yeah, yeah. One of the ways that I was able to process everything that I saw, um, it was it was actually through the lens of me showing emotion to my castmates
Right.
that didn't look at me. And this is after multiple conversations, both with myself and with, Survivor they give us great resources to be able to talk these things through.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really don't think that they looked at me as a player in the game. They
Right.
really looked at me as kind of a father figure, almost turning into then that nuisance, as opposed to like
Right.
I didn't have emotions until I showed emotion.
Right.
Because if you remember, like looking back, I think I was quoted a couple of times. I played this as a game. It was a game to me, 100%. I didn't want to get the emotional part of it. I didn't want to do that. And when the whole thing with Emily took place, it was a gameplay and emotions, and it intertwined. And then it was like, oh no, I couldn't get the two untangled. So that was, something that not everybody got a chance to be able to see, because those emotions were in confessionals, and those emotions would talk to with Julie just a tad bit, but it wasn't for full fledged like Katora when she was on, the Feast with the Ladies. Um, she had a great reaction to her life, and that was emotion, and that would help her go forward on an emotional level with people. I never really had an emotional level with anyone.
Right. Now, looking at the whole situation again, I'm a dad, and I've heard the whole like, Dad, don't do that around my friends, Dad. Like, and I also know that Gen Z and some millennials, when I got into my business, I want to be a sponge and absorb all that mentorship from all the people I could. It seems with Gen X and millennials a little bit that they're more like, don't advise me, let me follow my own path. I don't need your. Do you think there was any kind of generational thing going on there, Bruce? Because I sensed a little bit of that.
Yeah, yeah. If you can allow my math to kind of take place right now, at the time I'm 46.
Yeah,
Katora, unbeknownst to me, she was 44 at the time. So it's a 12-year difference, but in the show she was 30.
yeah,
Okay. So now add 4 more years. So that's 16 years of a difference between myself, Kelly, Kendra. Jake is another 2 years. So it's 18 years. Like I technically,
yeah,
aside from Katora, but just from what she gave for her age, I technically can be their father.
yeah.
So what I kind of am gravitating towards, and I'm convincing myself of, if anybody else says anything different, I don't care. This is what my thought is that, think about this. If your father ever came to you and said, go take the garbage out. Ah, Dad, what the hell? But you go take the garbage out, you're grinding your teeth, can't wait till I move out, I don't have to take the garbage out.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, it was almost like everything that I said was a dad talking to them, no matter how my voice inflected whatsoever, whether if I was aggressive with it, which I don't think I was, but it came across to people that I could have been aggressive. If I was joking around, well, that's my stupid dad doing a dumb dad joke. Like, I don't, and then walk away like, Jesus, Dad. But what makes it easier for the demographic that I was with is that they can then go talk to each other and relate, because they're all in the same age bracket.
right.
So that's what made it so hard for me to break through and not have that annoying dad thing. Give me a couple 35-year-olds, a couple like actual like playing as a 35-year-old. Give me a couple 40-year-olds. Like, then things would be completely different, because then people understand, and then they're more willing to understand where I'm coming from. I'm not coming from a place of malice. I'm not coming from a place of being
Yeah,
bossy. It's just that this is how I was raised. I don't care about your feelings. Just like, do what I say, and that I try as hard as I can not to deflect that on other people. But sometimes it just comes out.
yeah. I think that's the Gen X perspective. A lot of us have just a different awareness and a different perspective on things. Now, talking about perspective, I mean, we had Katora. I mean, she was like my French bulldog. Like, soon as he gets something on his mind, he's narrow focus, he's laser focused, and nothing can dissuade him from that. Um, what was your impression of all that? I mean, here you are seeing this like week after week. What did you think about all that?
Um, week 1 and week 2 are okay. Like, I go to my watch party for the premiere, and then I really couldn't hear what was going on. Then I go home, and actually I was in my basement. I was sitting with Maddie and Helen from season 44. We
Oh,
watched
wow.
the premiere. So we're watching, and I'm just like, what? Like, what? That's weird. But and then like week 3 comes 4, 5, 6, and I'm just like, oh my God, like what is going on? Like, my
Yeah.
friends would say to me, Bruce, you're not on screen. You weren't on screen a lot today. I'm like, Jesus, thank you. Like, I didn't want to be like it, because it turned into a session, because then it was Katora, then it was Kendra, Emily, Jake, Brando, he was in his exit press, like he was talking about, like, I'm like, oh my God, like this is crazy, like that I had this rub on people. But like with Katora, it was like I didn't know how strong it was. I had no
Right.
idea how strong it was. And whether it be from something that I said, something that I did, I wish I would have known about it because I don't know if contrite is the proper word for this right now, but like when I know that I did something wrong, I'm told I'm doing something wrong. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna hold up, my bad.
Yeah, yeah.
Like when I'm sitting with Katora and I like said that's the dumbest idea I ever heard. Like in the course of saying it, I'm like, oh my god, stupid, and I'm like, what in the mouth? Like, I need something, and I just had nothing. And then I know for a fact, and I went down to the beach and the camera crew was there. I'm like, yo, give us a second. This is not for the show. And I
Yeah.
apologized to her, and I'm like, yo, I'm sorry, but even that, like, I could have come across because remember, I didn't put any real emotion into it. It was gameplay, but at that moment in time, I put some emotion, like I'm so sorry, and then we okay to move on. That's why when I was sitting there talking to Katora about the idol, I still wanted to work with her, but just kind
Yeah.
of at my pace.
Yeah. Well, I think it too, again, I think it's the generational thing. I mean, we don't sugarcoat things with each other. We're on level with each other. We kind of expect that and we know that because that's how we kind of grew up. Obviously, you're part of the jury now, and you can't say who you voted for. But when you were pondering and thinking about who you were going to choose as a winner, what are some of the things that went through your mind, Bruce, or what are some of the things you debated back and forth?
There was no thought. Mm-mm.
Right.
I wanted an open mind.
Yeah.
Reason being is that I wanted to, no matter who's next and next and next, like I wanted to see what that person did to that point, and then I want to go to that person and say, okay, like what really happened, and just kind of gather my information and not make a decision. I didn't want to make a decision because then now you're battling against the decision you made. Like I thought this, but oh man, I'm thinking this too. But oh, then it's a back and forth. I don't want
Right.
to didn't
Right.
want to do that. So I did not make. I went into the end. I'm trying to figure out who it is that I want to vote for,
Yeah.
depending on all the stuff that I gathered, the things that I heard at final, and then go from there.
Right. Well, Bruce, I want to thank you again for taking the time to talk
Of
to us.
course.
Your journey was amazing. I mean, you had your ups and downs, you had your redemption, and we haven't had some really introspective and insightful moments with you. So thanks for sharing all of that. All the
Of
luck,
course.
best of luck to you in the future. And who knows, we may get to see you again.
Oh man, I hope so. We'll see what happens. Jeffrey, call me.
Maybe, yeah, maybe twice will be the charm. But thanks again, Bruce. All the best to you and have a great day.
Thank you very much. You too.